Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers. We just made it to the Dixieland Drug Store, so let's see what all there is to look at here. Looks like there's a good bit here, though.
The poster reads, "Power will be yours when you use Papa Legba's power drawing incense and Master Power oil. Buy some today."
Okay, Master Power oil.
In this case are super concentrated fixing oils and packages of pins. The door looks out on Burgundy Street.
Heard of Burgundy Street?
The mask appears to be made from a real crocodile head.
Cool!
It's a mannequin wearing a crocodile mask.
The best type of mannequin, I think.
The Dixieland Drug Store is crammed from top to bottom with strange merchandise, some or all of which seems to be related to the practice of voodoo. The sign says power items. The glass jars contain a number of things Gabriel can't identify.
And wouldn't want to.
That's what I was thinking.
The sign says potion ingredients. These jars must be for do-it-yourselfers.
Which, when it comes to alchemy and voodoo and that sort of thing, do-it-yourselfers is definitely the way to go. No problems that will ever happen when you do it that way, right?
Lodestone powder. 5-finger grass. Something tells me I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Herbal oils for love, luck, power, and success. The entire shelf is stocked with containers of High John the Conqueror root powder. The Dixieland, a variety of cloth dolls, are arranged above the shelf, each impaled with a single silver pin.
Okay, she read that very creepily.
The proprietor doesn't look especially friendly. His business probably doesn't depend on walk-ins. It's nearly as old as the one at St. George's. Root bags, curio boxes, and magic candles, sold as curios only. We cannot guarantee results.
So it says exactly canon?
The sign says, "Special Saint Jean Eve, Lagnape, free bottle of lover come back to me oil, or master gambling oil, with every purchase over $50.
Lagnac. My French is lousy, but everyone in New Orleans knows what that means. A little something extra.
Well, that was important information.
The dust on those boxes is older than Gabriel. The dust on small bags made of felt and flannel hang from the ceiling.
Those are gris-gris. They're full of magic. No guarantees, though, you know.
Like somebody else mentioned Gree. I don't know who, I can't remember who it was. Was it maybe the bartender? Or I can't remember who it was.
This case holds candles with names like Love Drawing Candle, Confusion Candle, and Black Devil Candle.
If only they sold a figure out what the hell is going on candle.
That's what I need.
Voodoo and hoodoo, the craft as revealed by traditional practitioners by Jim Haskins. Available at Dixieland Drug Store and other fine stores.
Okay, well, let's go and talk to this dude.
Talking to that would be unenlightening.
Hi there. Is this your store?
This is a Dixieland Drug Store, and I own it, me. Name's Walker, Billy Walker.
That name sounds like it's not real.
So, this is a voodoo store, huh?
Voodoo? No, man, this is a curio shop. The things you see here are from local folklore. None of it's real, I tell you for sure.
What about these magic oils and powders you're selling? Aren't they a part of voodoo?
Read the label, man. We make no claim. Sold as curio only. It means what it says, no? These are novelties, not voodoo.
I'm a businessman too. I own a bookstore here in the French Quarter.
I don't really care, me. I got a store to run.
Whatever, man.
So does any of this stuff actually work?
Are you crazy, man? These are just curios, novelties for the tourists.
Nice weather we're having.
Don't bother me. Can't you see I'm busy? St. John's Eve is coming and I got to be ready.
Talking to that, but
Have you always lived in New Orleans?
My papa and his papa and his papa, all the way back to the days of Marie Laveau we've been living here.
I'm a businessman too.
I don't really care.
Okay, that's all he has to say.
Mind if I ask you a few questions?
Ask what you want, I'll answer what I want.
This sounds like a good situation. That's one to ask about St. John's Eve.
Can you tell me what you know about voodoo?
This is a novelty shop, monsieur.
Do you think I'm stupid? This is a voodoo shop. Look at all this stuff.
These are novelties, curiosities. If people want to think they're magic, it's not my concern, you know.
Just open up a shop that says Magic Bean Shop. $50. Hey, they're novelties based on Jack and the Beanstalk. If people want to think they're magic beans, and oh well, that's their business. Is this how he? Is this his supposed cover there? Is it a voodoo guy who doesn't want people to know he deals with voodoo, or he's a guy who likes to make people think he's dealing with it when he's really not?
Are you telling me that you own a voodoo shop, but you know nothing about voodoo practices?
Ça fait n'est pas affaire blanche.
What does that mean?
Means you should mind your own business, monsieur.
Why didn't you just say it in English to begin with?
Look, I'm researching voodoo for a book.
I don't have your answers, B. Do you want to buy something, monsieur?
Look,
I don't have...
Okay, I guess that's all he has to say. We do definitely have to make sure to click on them multiple times, because they do sometimes give multiple answers.
what do you know
Or
about
important answers, I
voodoo
should say.
murders?
Cabriz Saint.
What did you say?
Nothing. Those killings have nothing to do with my shop, monsieur.
That wasn't what I asked! Dude! That is not what I asked at all. I just was bringing up the subject, man. You just was very defensive about it, man.
What do you know about...
Monsieur.
What do you know...
Monsieur.
Okay, that's all he has to say.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I've lived here all my life, me.
What can you tell me...
I'm a busy man, monsieur. I don't get out of my neighborhood much.
What can you tell me...
If you're not from around here, monsieur, you should sign up for some tours.
What can you tell...
If you're not from around here...
I just told you I want to shop. Sheesh, guy, do you not listen?
What's the significance of St. John's Eve?
It's the biggest night of the year. Voodoo.
What goes on exactly?
I couldn't say.
What's the significance?
I've said all I'm...
Okay.
What did you mean when you said Cabriz Saint Corps?
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
I heard you say it.
You heard wrong, monsieur. I said no such thing.
What did you mean when...
I didn't... You heard...
Okay, well, I think I know who we needed to ask about that.
Tell me about yourself.
My name's Willie Walker. I own the place.
Tell me about yourself. How did you get into this kind of business?
Why should I discuss my business with you, man?
Tell me about yourself. How did you get into this?
Why should I?
Tell me about.
Why should I?
Okay, that's all he's gonna say. Can we interact with? Can we take any of this stuff?
To get what's in the case, Gabriel would need money. To get the mask, Gabriel would have to buy it.
I don't want any of this stuff.
Gabriel doesn't.
No thanks. I don't even want to think about what might be in them.
The jars look fragile, and their contents unappetizing.
I don't think voodoo dolls are my style.
What would Gabriel do with that sign? Gabriel doesn't.
Can we interact with it? Any of it?
Gabriel cannot. That doesn't work. There is. Gabriel doesn't know enough voodoo to operate those dolls.
Oh, ow! What if you try to perform surgery on a voodoo doll? That's creepy. Ow! Well, I think I know what we need to do for that one guy. Let's return to the bookstore. Anything happened while I was going?
It's humid out there. Made it back though.
Oh, joy.
She seems happy about it. Anything happened while I was going there, Grace?
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you know anything?
I've told you all I know.
Okay, let's ask
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? Never heard of it. It must be a local custom. New Orleans love any excuse to celebrate.
What can you
I told you.
Do you know what Caprice encore means?
No. Sounds French, though.
It does.
Are you sure you...
I told you.
Okay.
Do you have messages for me?
Nope.
Could you do some research for me?
Sure. What?
I can't think of something. Tell me what Caprice and Core means, man.
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess we got nothing for her to research. Oh, what about this picture?
Do you know anything about this?
It's your friend Mosley. Why?
Oh, no reason.
Oh, what happens if I show her this picture? I think she's gonna be upset with me if I show her this picture.
Hey, you want to see something really
That's disgusting. That's really horrible.
Especially when you put it that way.
Great, isn't it?
God, somebody ought to lock you up.
Yeah, good job, Gabriel. You have a true way with women.
Do you know anything about this?
What, the magnifying glass? It makes things look big. Out to impress a girl, are you?
I hope you're insulting the size of my brain.
That goes without saying.
Oh, who's the crowd?
Hey, kids.
Bruno, how nice.
Gee, a customer.
Of yours? Hardly.
How's the flower business?
Well, better than the used book business, I see.
Rare books.
That explains why I so rarely see anyone in here. Are you going to sell me that wonderful painting of yours today?
Sounds like he really needs some business.
How much would you give me for it, Bruno?
Gabriel, don't you dare sell your father's painting.
Well, I guess I don't need the money that badly.
From the looks of this shop, I'm sure you will, my boy. And soon.
Is that guy from The Simpsons? That voice sounds very familiar.
Gabriel can see that just fine without magnification.
Yeah, that is right, though. That is his father's painting, so that would be a bad thing to sell.
Gabriel cannot use the black shirt that way.
Yeah, though it wouldn't surprise me if he were to ask her to change shirts. You know, right there. Would be out of his character. Okay, well, so much for that. I thought for sure that she could do research. Well, what are we supposed to ask her to do research on then?
Got some things I need to do.
See ya.
We've only got her house to go to now.
Gabriel, I'm so glad you stopped by.
Sorry it's been a while, Grandma.
Not at all. Give us a kiss. Now come and sit down. Tell me how you're doing.
Guess we'll have a look around here.
Gabriel grew up in this room. Just being here make him feel safe. And after about 5 minutes, claustrophobic. The magazines in the bin includes issues of Southern Living, Ladies' Home Journal, and Macars. Fresh carnations, Granny's favorite. Mostly pictures of Gabriel, his dad, and Harrison Knight. That clock has been in the Wright family, Granny's family, for centuries. Granny likes soft lighting. Gabriel grew up.
Okay, that's...
On the wall are portraits of Gran and Gramps when they were young. Gabriel's inherited some good-looking genes.
Really? They passed down a pair of blue jeans for that long? Wow.
The sofa has a worn blue chintz pattern that Gabriel remembers fondly. Granny's side chair still has that annoying loose spring in the seat. Granny's knitting. She whips through that stuff like there was no tomorrow. Granny has a way with plants and kids. The double doors lead to Granny's front lawn. The wood in the bin is southern pine and is probably fossilized by now. Gabriel, Grandmother Knight rarely uses the fireplace these days. Too much of a hassle to clean.
Not very many people use fireplaces these days.
Mostly pictures of Gabriel.
Okay. Well, I guess we talk to her.
How you been, Gran?
Just fine, dear. I'm sorry I bothered you at work, but I was hoping you'd get a chance to go through your father's things in the attic.
Don't be silly. You can call me anytime. Nice weather.
Oh, Gabriel, please. It's been just awful. Muggiest summer of my life.
I'm glad the summer is almost done with here, anyway.
Are you okay, Gran?
I'm right as rain, boy.
What's new, Gran?
I've been working on baby sweaters for the church bazaar. Keeps me busy.
Is there anything you need?
Me? Oh, no. I'm just fine, Gabriel. I have more than enough of everything.
Everything!
Are you okay, Gran?
I'm...
Nice.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, it's... Let's interrogate
Can
grandmother.
we talk, Gran?
of course, my boy. How can I help?
Okay, there's a lot to talk to her about.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? What an odd question, Gabriel. Of course, you always were interested in monster movies and all that other weird stuff. You get that from your father and granddad. I don't know anything about it, dear. Of course, it was very big in New Orleans at one time, but you don't hear about it so much these days. Too much else in the world to worry about, I guess.
What can you tell me
I don't know what it...
Okay.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Oh, Gabriel, nothing. And I don't want to. I sometimes wonder what this world is coming to.
What do you know?
Oh, Gabriel.
Okay, nothing new there.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans is very southern. Of course, though, not as much as it used to be when I was a girl. It's gotten much more influenced by the East Coast and that California stuff.
California
Still,
stuff.
It hasn't changed as much as other places, I reckon. We've always been happy here.
What can you tell?
My goodness, boy. You've lived here all your life just like me. I can't tell you much that you don't already know.
I guess that's
Can you
true.
tell-
My goodness.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? I remember when I was a girl, we always had a St. John's Eve Mass. The Mass was said at midnight, and we held candles. One time on the way home, we were waylaid by a large group of drunken revelers. They didn't hurt us, but I was frightened. My father was furious. We never went to St. John's Eve Mass after that.
What can you tell me
I haven't celebrated it in years, Gabriel. Well, I'm sure there's still Mass in the more traditional churches, but I don't go.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I haven't
Okay.
Do you have any idea what Cabri sans Coeur means?
Something without something, I think. My French is so rusty. I swear my mind is going.
It's okay, thanks.
Well, hey, we know sans means without.
Do you have any idea? It's okay. Tell me about yourself.
Me? Oh, surely you have something more interesting to talk about.
Oh, come on, Gran.
All right, dear. What do you want to hear?
What do you do all day?
You know how I love to knit and work in my garden? I also take long walks. It's the only way to keep an old body like mine from stiffening up.
You're not old.
Oh, don't be foolish. I'm older than the hills.
Tell me about before you met Granddaddy.
Well, you know I was born Rebecca Wright. My daddy owned a lot of land outside of town. We grew peas, corn, cotton, all kinds of things. It was a good childhood, but my father was very strict. He didn't much let me out of his sight.
Tell me how you met Granddaddy.
I met Harrison at a church revival. There was a traveling preacher back then, a big fella named Reverend Jim. I even remember his slogan, "Come to me to find your way." Your granddad was sitting right behind me and my girlfriend Alma, and at one point, old Reverend Jim was flinging his hair around with his fire and brimstone annex, and a piece of it, one of those small add-on do's for man, went flying off. I swear, Harrison and I were the only ones that noticed. We both started laughing to beat the band. Everyone looked at us like we were a couple of loonies. It was then I knew that he was for me.
Okay. So, they knew they were right right there because of a bit of hair that went flying. Interesting.
How you feeling these days?
Fit as a fiddle, and don't you worry your head about it.
Just tell me anything at all.
I had your father when I was 22. The doctors told me I couldn't have any more after him, so I'm afraid I spoiled him rotten.
Just tell...
I never loved any man but your grandfather, and I never will.
Just tell me...
I hate to admit it, but I was a jealous little thing when your granddad and I were younger. I loved him so ferociously, and he did attract the eyes of the ladies, whether he wanted to or not.
Just tell...
Yeah, it sounds like he does have genes in him.
But I have lots of girlfriends in the neighborhood. I call one of them if I'm feeling blue.
Just tell...
I wish you'd settle down and give me a great-grandchild.
Oh, Gran. Just tell...
I had your father when I was 22.
Okay.
Just...
I never loved...
Okay. I think she's
Oh,
talking about
no.
everything she's
Oh.
going to tell.
Tell me about our family.
Who would you like to hear about? Your granddad, your father, or your mother?
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21. He worked his way through school, met and married me, and we had your father, Philip.
Tell me some...
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. I'll tell you what, though, he hated every minute of it. Didn't really like bookkeeping one bit. Maybe that was why he had the worst luck with jobs. The nights he'd come home afraid to tell me he'd lost another. And I would tell him. It didn't matter to me. But he felt ashamed, Gabriel.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Harrison was only 36 when he died. Your father was 8 years old at the time. Your granddad was hit by a streetcar in the business district. Took me nearly a year to believe he was really gone.
I'm sorry, Gran.
I know you are, dear.
Tell me something.
Did you know that your granddad was a poet? He was! He wrote the most beautiful poetry for me when we were courting. I always thought he should have done something with that gift. But he was such a practical man. Didn't believe in chasing after dreams.
Tell me something.
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
Okay. There's some pretty interesting backstory there. I feel like there's more to it than she'd said, though.
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. How we adored him. Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like your granddad did. They were 2 peas in a pod.
Tell me about my father.
When Philip met your mother, it was love at first sight. They were married 2 weeks later. Never looked at a girl seriously until then. And he looked at plenty. You have your father's way with women, Gabriel. And your granddad's.
Tell me about my...
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash when you were only 8. It was the thought of taking care of you that kept me going, Gabriel. The police say your father swerved off the road after being frightened by something. Perhaps a deer in the road or a wild cat.
So... Gabriel's dad was 8 when his granddad died, and then he was 8 when his parents died.
Tell me about my father.
Your granddad wanted Philip to have a normal life. He was obsessed by that thought. He pushed Philip to go to law school. Philip was driven to art. He painted almost in a daze. He would get so inside himself when he worked.
Tell me about my father.
He always hated it that it was Margaret's money that supported the 3 of you when his painting couldn't. I kept telling him, try something more cheerful, like a landscape or 2. But he couldn't do it. His work was just too dark and disturbing for the public, you know.
Tell me about my...
I don't know what else...
Sounds like Gabriel's writing is probably pretty similar to his dad's art.
Tell me about my mother.
Your mother was Margaret Templeton when your father met her. She came from a very wealthy Creole family in New Orleans. She was beautiful and reckless. She was madly in love with your father, of course, but I also think she liked defying her family. Since you're so interested in family history these days, why don't you go by St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 and visit the family tomb? It would be a sweet gesture.
Maybe I will.
Well, there's a place we can go to now.
Tell me about...
Your mother's family refused to give her money after the marriage. All she had left was a modest trust fund from a great aunt, who happened to like Philip. The remainder of your mother's trust fund became yours when she died. That's what you used to open your bookshop.
Tell me about my...
The Templetons are all gone now. Every last one of them. They never wanted anything to do with us, of course. What a waste.
Tell me about...
I don't know what...
You know, you get prettier every time I see you.
Oh, you.
Have you baked any of your incredible molasses pies lately?
No, dear. But you let me know when you want some, and I'll whip up half a dozen.
That's a lot of pies.
You've lost weight. Are you courting a new man?
Oh, Gabriel, don't be silly. You know there'll never be anyone but your granddad for me.
Oops.
Oh, why, thank you, dear. So does... you always had such nice, thick hair, Gabriel.
You know, I always tell people that my gran is the prettiest grand old belle in the city.
Oh, dear. You shouldn't talk so.
You know, you get...
Okay, yeah, that's all we have to talk about. But anyway, guys, that was a pretty long conversation we had with her. I think that's a good place to call it for today's video. I do sincerely hope you enjoyed. There was some good information there. I think we're about to learn some pretty interesting stuff, I think. But I will see you guys in the next episode. Farewell.